Over the next 2 days, you will hear from distinguished and renowned experts and practitioners who come from diverse backgrounds with extensive knowledge and expertise in the fields of cybersecurity, data protection, and privacy, as well as technology experts.
We are together for this very, very important event, knowing that we are living the epidemic of corona and cyber has become ever more important.
Are you actively today advancing the protection of your consumers and customers at your organization?
I think the biggest aspect of all this is really collaboration, because as these threats evolve and change, there's no better way than for CISOs to share information, look at what's working and what's not working in their own systems. And public-private partnerships are an element to this too. But I think the future goes back to having one global banking culture where everyone looks out for each other.
So the only hope for workable enterprise defense, especially for financial services, is to attack complexity, reduce the size, the scale, and the scope of the software that we rely on. For us to have a strong house, we must have simple but solid bricks.
On the face of it, a relatively simple task, privileged access management. The devil is in the detail. It's all about the technology stack that you've deployed, and it's just running those tests, making sure you can get the information out of it that you need to match your compliance and regulatory requirements.
Fundamental challenge, if you look at whether small, large, medium organizations employing cloud, is fundamentally not knowing where the assets are, right? So the first and foremost is identifying or discovering those assets where the employees or maybe third parties are connecting with the cloud.
Organizations has to think of technology, not just as supporting capability, but also being seamlessly integrated with the core to every aspect of the organization.
There are several laws which in fact protect data and emphasize its importance within the region.
You can have data security without privacy, okay? But there can never be data privacy without security.
In the absence of a single global agreement on data protection, determining the jurisdiction becomes an issue when disputes arise.
Being very transparent about how you communicate about the data that you process. Be very clear about for what duration you will process data, would you delete it, based on what variables would you act on certain things that may influence or may impact the data of your user.
You look at breaches and incidents, regardless of whether it's a financial institution or a non-financial institution, most of the time it gets back to some of the fundamentals where things went wrong.
You need to be constantly one step ahead of the threats that you're facing and constantly evolving. A technology that looks good at securing your systems and your finances today could become redundant tomorrow.
That if security controls fail, we can detect those failures and we can respond to them to minimize the impact of those failures.
If you can provide context as to what the user is doing, you can help them protect themselves.
The attackers are getting much better, much quicker at leveraging tools to compromise enterprise networks and find those kind of weak points and exploit them.
The intelligence sharing, but it's also the knowledge sharing and helping out one of your peers.
With this explosion, suddenly every organization has all of their employees working remotely and they've entirely lost visibility.
We should focus more and invest more on data sharing and in threat intelligence sharing among us, because the same type of attackers will be targeting different banks with a specific campaign in the same month or the same week.
And then 2/3 of these decision makers really felt underprepared for that increase, that massive increase of this remote workforce.
Banks in 2021 want to stay competitive. They need to keep investing in these
digital tools.
One of the things that also has come out of this one is that it will never be the same again. Things have changed permanently.